Bad things often happen when others touch your bike. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I mentioned in last week's video that when I purchased my motorcycle, I also purchased a road hazard warranty. Well, when I called the road hazard warranty company to make a claim, I asked about towing, and they told me that they do have a towing service that's part of the deal. And they told me to call their dispatch number when I was within an hour of wanting to get my bike towed from my house to the dealership. So that's exactly what I did. When I made the arrangements with the dealership and arranged a time for them to receive the bike for repair, I called the dispatch number, and within an hour they did indeed show up. I knew I was in trouble when the towing company came with a flatbed, and the first thing the driver tells me is, he's only towed one motorcycle before. And if that wasn't enough, he said he called for another driver to show up to show him how to do it. Well, long story short, neither one of them really had a clue as to what they were doing. And as you will see on the video, I pretty much anticipated that by the time they got done, something was going to be messed up on my bike. So as you can see, they put the straps above the fender on the forks, which in and of itself wouldn't have been bad if they didn't have a metal coupling. So as you can see, the one individual is trying to hold it from dropping down on the fender. Well, unfortunately, his efforts were in vain, and eventually that brass coupler went down and hit the fender and scratched it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now I will try and get the right angle so you can see, but right there you can see kind of in the center and how it goes down the side of the fender. And if this isn't working for you, I will put a still shot up on the screen. But anyway, so that's what happened to the fender. So I was not surprised, again, when that buckle came down and hit it, and I had a feeling there was going to be a scratch on the fender. All right, but long story short, on the fender, I called the company, talked to the manager, explained what happened. He actually came out to my house after I'd gotten the bike back from the dealer and looked at the fender and agreed that they would take care of it. So he went back to the office, and the next day he basically gave me a check for the cost of the fender, because I told him that I would just replace the fender myself. I had already punched up online how much it would cost, and he just paid me for what it would cost to purchase it myself. And at some point you will see me, I will create a video on that to show you how to do that. So it'll be a how-to video. So that issue there is already resolved, and it's no big deal. Now the other issue that I have is when I got the bike back from the dealer when they replaced the tire, was I was just getting ready to clean the bike, and I just happened to look at the rear tire, and let me show you what I'm talking about. Immediately I noticed that there is a lot of stress on that cable for the ABS sensor. So I'm going to point to it right there. That should not be bent like that. There should be a lot more free play. And as a matter of fact, you can see that the cable is supposed to be in this ring right here, and now it is not. It's above it, and this is about as tight as it can go. So they messed up when they put the sensor housing, the ABS sensor housing on. They did not line up the projections that are right here. You can see one there, hopefully, and you can see the other one down here. Those two should be in alignment. So in other words, this ABS sensor housing should be spun counterclockwise. It looks like almost an inch. And by doing that, that would relieve the tension off of that and allow the cable to go through that eyelet. So I called the dealer and explained what was going on. And I even told the dealer if it doesn't violate any warranty or any type of coverage, I would just go ahead and do it myself. I can't see this taking more than 3 minutes to resolve the issue, because really the only thing that is required is to remove those two pinch bolts, and then underneath that rubber cap is access to the axle. and I have the right fitting that would fit on that. So all I need to do is basically just remove the pinch bolts, break the axle loose until I get it loose enough to be able to rotate that to line up the two, what the service manual calls projections. But those two notches right there, I can just line those up and then torque it back down. I have the torque specs in the service manual, and I have torque wrenches to be able to torque both the axle and the two pinch bolts. So this will be an easy fix. Again, I will just do it myself. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. I was a little bit disappointed in what I thought should have been an easy process of just simply replacing the tire, and unfortunately it created 2 other issues. But overall, again, I'm happy with the way the Fender is going to turn out, because the company was very responsive and understanding and very prompt at getting me the money. The individual, like I said, drove out to my house and assessed the situation, and the next day he drove back and actually brought me the check. That's a done deal. The part is on order. Whenever that comes in, I will have a video on how to remove and replace the fender. Now the back wheel, I was a little disappointed that a dealership wouldn't know how to do that correctly. Even if they don't have any maintenance on a VMAX very often, I can't help but think with so many bikes with ABS, they would know that they need to line up that housing so everything would fit properly before torquing down the axle. But nonetheless, I will resolve that one myself within just a few minutes. The thing that started all of this was the tire, and like I mentioned in a previous video, I had the road hazard warranty from a third-party company. I will explain how all of that process worked from start to finish in a future video. And I will also discuss whether or not I think it was worth the money that I paid for it. So I will have a more detailed video on that in the future. Until then, see you next time.